world divides us. We're on two different sides, but this wall's not real. How can it be real? It's only made of concrete and barbed wire.
I belong to a spiritual practice that is called a practice, and it's called that because you have to actually do something about it. I'm a Nichiren Daishonin Buddhist. It is a form of Buddhism that originated in Japan in the 13th century, and it's a very clean form of Buddhism that returns you to your own source of Buddhahood. And I do practice it. The practice calls for doing morning prayers and evening prayers, and we predominantly chant the title of the Lotus Sutra repeatedly. So we chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo and believe in the possibility of world peace through everyone starting by finding peace in their world first.
I was raised a Roman Catholic. I don't practice religiously. I don't want to say I'm one of those people who just go to church on holidays, but well, I go more often than holidays. I have a sister that's very, very close to the, you know, she's stuck with it for many years, and especially when I go home to visit. My nephew's an altar boy. He's been one for several years, and I'm more on a plane of more of a spiritual guidance, so I don't really go a lot with the rules of the Catholic religion. If you go back in the Bible, and this I do know, there's a tremendous amount of homosexuality in the Bible. If you go back to the artworks of like Michelangelo and the great artists, there's always women with women, especially men with men, men with many women, you know. So for the Catholic religion to preach as much as it does, and they don't practice what they refer you back to follow, I just kind of try to stay clear of it. I just don't, I try not to be judgmental. I use whatever's best for me. I had a very traumatic experience with probably the person, the closest being I'd ever been to. I had a very good friend for many years who was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 32. And she died from that disease at the age of 40. Even as far back as when she first got diagnosed in '97, my will to turn towards my God just was not there at all. It just wasn't. In hindsight, when I look at, and we had a relationship for a couple of years. What worked better for her and I was the friendship on the other side of the relationship, and especially during the course of her illness. She was a single mother with 2 children, and I was really angry. I was angry at first. After she passed away, I realized that I really didn't have any kind of animosity or resentment towards God or my religious beliefs, because for the experience that I had, once the sadness passed, and I realized the gift of being able to go through this whole journey with her, from the first diagnosis to the years of her illness, and then being with her in those final 2 weeks, and her passing, and having to make decisions for her children, and it's just that I have a relationship with mourning doves now. It's funny because the one that visits me every morning, you know, and I talk to the mourning dove like as if it's her, you know. I mean, I'm very open to turning that anger and that pain around into what a magnificent experience I have, what a wonderful relationship I have with her children, and how she continuously appears in my life. Is that religious? I don't know. Is it comforting to me? Absolutely. Have I passed it on to other people, especially people who lose people from something in a very young age? And I tell them that for me, the relationship was much greater after she passed than it was even in the time period that she was here. And there's constantly those reminders and those signs and those signals to me where, without a doubt, I know absolutely and intuitively that it comes from her.
God, I love
Stop begging.
It's like an embarrassment of riches. There's so many women in town, I can't even believe it. Flyer, you gotta flyer, you gotta do it. It's at Art House at 8:30. 8:30 at Art House. That is the amateur drag king contest. That's what you want to be a part of. Oh, but I didn't bring my stuff to get in drag. Don't worry, we got everything it takes to put you in drag. So come a half an hour early. Even though you're going in dude drag, you're still a chick, and that means it's gonna take a while to turn into a dude. I know! I already started with this, just to help me. You know how long it takes to put the hair away? A long time. I guarantee you, you are not going to recognize me when the hair is gone. And I appear as one another. Because once you've had one, you're going to one another.
I was raised Catholic by a single parent who did not even believe in it herself. But she was so afraid that her kids would not have a moral compass that she squeezed us into morality by way of oppression. So, being raised Catholic, there was definitely a lot of anti-homosexuality. There was anti-sexuality. They were against masturbation even. So, the church, the Orthodox version of any church is there to try to control human beings and especially try to control your sexual impulses. And the fact that most Judeo-Christian Islamic teachings are predicated on control of the body and the body's functions and the sexuality for procreation only. If they really believed that, I wish that they would just try to enforce that for themselves and leave us the hell alone. If they really think that homosexuality is such an abomination, then why are they practicing it in bathrooms and in confession booths?
I never literally came out, especially back then. I was 16 and my mother had found a letter. And at the time I was asked to christen my sister's first child, the first grandchild coming into the family. I was a member of a church group, a church folk group, for like 13 years. I had actually gone to Catholic high school and grammar school. And so, you know, getting back to that first question where I was very religiously based as a kid, my mother found a letter and she just went cuckoo bang bang. I'm telling your sister you're not going to christen the baby. I'm telling all the people in the church group you'll never sing in the church group again. And so unfortunately in the time period it was best to date guys again, which I did for a couple of years till I graduated high school. And then you know, I was able to make my own choices at that point. My mother is now 79. I hadn't brought around a lot of people during the course of my years as far as family events and stuff. A lot of times I just showed up myself. And but now at her age now, it's irrelevant, you know. It's not even an issue.